The Maine Secretary of State has barred President Donald Trump from the ballot as the Supreme Court weighs state authority to block the former president from elections. Joining us now is the chairman of the House Oversight Committee, the congressman from Kentucky, James Comer. Chairman Comer, what's your initial reaction to this ruling out of Maine?
Well, I'm not surprised. I fear we're going to see this happen in more states. But I'll tell you, it's good for every member of Congress, especially me, to be back home during Christmas, listening to average Americans. And I'm here in Kentucky right now. And if you ask the average Kentuckian about the Democrats and what they're trying to do right now, especially with respect to the presidential race, they'll say two things. First of all, they think it's absurd what the Democrats are trying to do in blue states in banning President Trump from the ballot. I mean, this is clearly election interference. And then the second thing that the average person on the street will say about the Democrats in this presidential race is they've got a problem with their candidate, Joe Biden. Poll after poll shows that the Americans believe his policies are bad, and that even worse for Joe Biden, he's a crook. So I think that the Democrats are trying to do everything they can in a last-ditch effort to disrupt the Republican momentum right now heading into the presidential election. I think this is another example of that. And I hate to say it, Jason, but I fear we're going to see more blue states pull stunts like this.
Yeah, the projection from the Democrats was that this is the kind of stunt that Donald Trump would pull. But no, it's actually the Democrats that are pulling this. I want to actually read what the Maine Secretary of State said about this process, because, she regarded Trump that he had committed so-called insurrection. This is a quote. Trump's objections hinge largely on the rules of evidence that do not govern this proceeding. The fact that a report includes hearsay, contains irrelevant facts, or lacks foundation does not automatically render it inadmissible. Rather, the central question is whether it is the type of evidence on which reasonable persons are accustomed to rely in serious affairs. I rule the January 6th report meets this standard. And again, Donald Trump was never charged, nor was he ever convicted of anything, let alone insurrection. Where she's coming from, this is the kind of stuff that you do in a banana republic. And when they do, the United States calls it out as something that is totally unacceptable.
Yeah, I mean, the hypocrisy coming from Democrat leaders around the country with respect to election interference is breathtaking. I mean, all they tried to insinuate, if you go back to the last presidential election, remember they tried to say that when President Trump appointed Louis DeJoy to be Postmaster General, they were going to steal the election on election ballots and absentee ballots. Well, election night, they were pretty satisfied, the Democrats were, with percentage of votes that Joe Biden got with mail-in ballots. So they just dropped that. Now they're going with this insurrection narrative that's completely bogus. I mean, I was there January 6th, and January 6th was a rally that went bad. That's what it was. It wasn't an organized event. If it were, the Democrats would have proven that in their January 6th committee hearings. Remember, the Democrats in the January 6th committee debacle, they deposed President Trump's family for 24 hours. So President Trump's kids and in-laws came in and sat for depositions for 24 hours. Here in our investigation, as you know, Jason, we have all this disturbing evidence of political corruption by the Biden family. We have given the President Biden's son a lawful subpoena, and he defied that subpoena. So I think the American people are seeing this hypocrisy play out in a live basis here with what we saw in Maine, what we've seen in Colorado. I'm sure there are going to be other states. We see Democrat tweets and Democrat politicians encouraging Democrat secretaries of state and liberal Supreme Court to do this just to try to create a narrative that the Republicans are a threat to democracy.
Well, I think it's going to be interesting, Chairman, as you dive into this. What did Joe Biden know about it? You had a duly issued subpoena that was issued out there for Hunter Biden to appear. And now the White House spokesperson, well, she's saying that the president was he involved? Was he engaged? I think that's a legitimate question. I wish we had more time to dive into it, but I know it's something you're going to look into it. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year, Chairman James Comer. Appreciate you joining us.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.